Grateful to be your worship associate for today. Grateful to be your worship associate for today. Looks like the sun is winning out as usual. I must say I enjoyed looking out and feeling like we were, as Greg Garcia said, sort of in a fishbowl up here. But it's always nice to be appreciative of where we sit and where we are in relationship to this beautiful place. This is an opportunity which we all cherish to be together, a time to be in joy, comfort, sometimes challenges. This Unitarian Universalist congregation is a place where we come to learn more about being human. We're on a journey to be open, accepting, a tolerant congregation who honors the inherent worth and dignity of all who enter here and those we have yet to meet. We're not here because we figured out life's questions. It's because we think we've got it right. We are here to learn more about being in relationship together, how to listen, how to forgive, how to be vulnerable, and how to create trust and compassion in one another. If you are a first-time visitor, we welcome you and invite you to stay for lunch on us. If you are not a first-time visitor, we invite you to stay for our lovely lunch. It's $5 a person, quite the deal. Your children are most welcome to join in the Moment for All Ages early on in the service and follow the rest of the children out for religious education. Younger kiddos can attend childcare, which begins prior to the service. We welcome you one and all. And I have a couple of announcements before we get on our way. Excuse me. From Social Justice, they invite you to join them or stop by their lunch table on the first Sunday of the month, starting today, for an informal discussion update on their plans to move forward, which includes starting up a social justice MOOFie night. Again, they spelled it Moofie, M-O-F-I-E. I'm not sure if it's a typo, but I'm not going to argue. Oh, is it? Yeah, no. He's messing with me. Okay. Again, they're hosting more events here at PUC. The formal meetings will be moving to Zoom. Is there a representative from Social Justice here today? Okay. Oh, hi. Are you meeting out there today, or was it the first Sunday of the month? So there you have it. me ever on completely on top of things. Community yoga, First Monday Yoga, with a sound healing drum circle, which will take place here tomorrow in the sanctuary. It's a donation-based, accessible practice on the floor or mat. All donations go to PUC, and no one will be turned away. In addition, addressing, are we still good? Mm-hmm. Addressing the scale of destruction in the wake of Hurricane Helene has been utterly devastating to many communities in the southeastern United States. Some Unitarian Universalist congregations have been seriously impacted, and others are still trying to assess the damage. You can help support Unitarian Universalists and their communities as they recover from this storm by giving generously to the UUA's Disaster Relief Fund. There is a link which I'm happy to share with you. I'm certain you can Google it if you prefer. You can come see myself or Pastor Joshua after services for this information. And I'll take this opportunity to remind us of what it was this church did for the church in Louisiana. What was the name of that hurricane? Katrina. And we donated a tremendous amount in order to help rebuild that church there. So our congregation is not new to assisting our sister and brother fellow congregations. And with that, I will light our chalice. Starting in World War II, the chalice became a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It is a symbol of hope, the sacred, the quest for truth, the warmth of community, the light of reason, and more. We light this chalice in worship to create a reverent space for reflection, prayer, meditation, and song.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Tracy. Lovely to see everybody here. I'm Pastor Joshua. Because this is both the Jewish New Year, which was October 2nd and 3rd, and it's during what they call the Days of Awe, or the High Holy Days for Judaism, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, because also tomorrow is the horrible anniversary of October 7th. I am going to sound the shofar, which is what the Jews blow on Yom Kippur, on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It's the sacred horn, and it is a call to action for justice and for peace. That is what it is. That is how I interpret it, at least. It's interpreted in different ways. This is the traditional Ashkenazi Jewish American shofar. Also, for those who don't know, I am a humanist, religious naturalist, Jewish, Unitarian Universalist. So it all comes together for me. So this is the one you'll most commonly see is from a ram. This is from a ram. No animals were harmed or killed in making these. They are taken from animals who have already died. And this is from an animal that's native to some states in Africa. It's called a Gemsbok onyx. You'd probably know them better in America as antelope. They call them onyx in Africa. And you'll hear the different calls to action. These are blown on Rosh Hashanah and on Yom Kippur with certain patterns of notes. After those patterns are called out, I'm not going to do it that way because this isn't a High Holy Day service. It's just a demonstration. Let's see if I can do this. Get ready. I'm going to give these, I'm going to leave these outside and with some wipes. Be sure to wipe them down if you try it so everyone can look at them and try and blow them if they want. So the call to worship this morning. The call to worship this morning will be just the greeting on Rosh Hashanah. You've heard probably Shana Tova, which means Happy New Year. The whole greeting is Shana Tova Umetuka. May you have a good and sweet year. And with that, please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 146, Soon the Day Will Arrive.
Soon the day will arrive when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile with thundering weather on that day. Thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what the world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Some have dreamed, some have died to make a bright tomorrow, and our vision remains in our hearts. Now the torch must be passed with new hope, not in sorrow, and a promise to make a new start. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me.
And now I bring up Cara Craig, our religious education coordinator for the Story for All Ages.
I'd like to welcome the kids and the young at heart, whoever wants to come down for the story. Welcome, everyone.
Oh, sorry.
Is that
It's
you? Okay. Is mine working? Okay, good. All right, perfect. Today I am going to tell a story called The Talking Stick, and it is a retelling of a Sioux legend. When it was time for all the young mothers in the village to go out and to gather fruit and berries, the old grandmothers were left to care for the young children. It is believed that young children have many dreams and visions to collect before they are grown. With the grandmothers close by, all the children took naps. And on one of those days, while the children slept, Crow and Magpie were having a terrible argument. "Caw!" screamed Crow. "Caw-caw!" screamed Magpie. They were both speaking at once, and they couldn't even hear each other. One of the grandmothers went to quiet the voices outside so they would not wake the children. She tried to scare the birds away, and when she could not get the attention of the screaming crow and the screaming magpie, she called for Eagle to help. Because Eagle was full of wisdom, and everyone looked to Eagle to help them with their problems. "Oh, Brother Eagle," asked Grandmother, "can you chase off these two noisy ones so that our children can dream?" asked Grandmother. With a mighty flap of his wings, Eagle sailed towards the noisy pair, giving them a call and a warning as he came close. But Crow and Magpie couldn't hear him. Caw, 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 caw. And then whack, they knocked a feather off of Eagle. Oh no. Suddenly, they both had realized what they had done. Magpie said, "Oh, Brother Eagle, we did not hear you so near. I am so truly sorry for the injury I have caused you." Now, Crow was very surprised to hear such an honorable thing come from Magpie. "I have many times been a naughty bird, Brother Eagle," Crow said. "I think this may be the worst I have done in many moons. I am very sorry that you lost a sacred feather." Crow and Magpie both went to retrieve Eagle's feathers, and their eyes met, and they knew that none of this would have happened if they hadn't been fighting. "I am ashamed, Brother Eagle, that my loud talking and harsh words were more important to me than solving problems. We have disturbed the two-legged children and torn your wings from a sacred feather, and now we will return them to you and ask for forgiveness." So Eagle, in his wisdom, responded, "Give my feather and the branch it rests on to the grandmother. Grandmother, connect to my sacred feather to the branch. Dress the branch with beads and leather and fur to make it even more beautiful. Keep it in your lodge and teach others to create this fine-looking stick. We will call this sacred item a talking stick. Tell all the people that when they come together at any gathering where ears might be shut, to bring out the talking stick, and let only the holder speak. This will be done in an honorable manner, letting everyone have his say. Pass the stick until all have spoken. Then a vote can be taken, and the side who gathers the most votes will make the final decision." And Grandmother gathered up the branch and the feather. She was very honored to have learned this lesson, and every grandmother from that day on has told this story and helped the young ones to make talking sticks. The end. Thanks.
Peace, love, now and peace. May God
There's another ritual around the High Holy Days called Tashlich, where you go to a moving body of water. It has to be a moving body of water. A lot of people go to the ocean or the river. You bring bread and you cast away the bread, and it casts away your sins. It's symbolic. So I've actually left on the table, on the tables for lunch, a number of pieces of paper with a tashlich, very short tashlich ritual. So if any of you want to go to a flowing body of water and offer tashlich, you're welcome to do it with that. And please invite me as well. If I'm able to come, I will. This prayer is a tashlich prayer from a blog called The Velveteen Rabbi. Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt. This isn't echoing because this is on, no. I encouraged, cast away from yourselves all your transgressions and create within yourselves a new heart and new spirit. That's a quote from Ezekiel 18:31. Here I am again, ready to let go of my mistakes. Help me to release myself from the ways that I've missed the mark. Help me to stop carrying the karmic baggage of my poor choices. As I cast the bread upon the waters, lift my troubles off my shoulders. Help me to know that last year is over, washed away like the crumbs in the current, and open my heart to blessing and to gratitude. Renew my soul as the dews renews the grasses. Say that 10 times fast. As the dews renews the grasses. And may we say together, Amen. Amen. Get ready, we're not singing quite yet, but... So, as I said, this is the most sacred time of year for Jews, the days of awe, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Jews are meant to undergo a spiritual renewal by considering how they have wronged others and by atoning. And one way to do that is through the process of deep listening, a practice I'd like to continue in various continuing enrichment activities at PUC after this service and outside of worship as well. But we're going to start here. I would ask us to engage today in deep listening as I read two statements, two pieces with which some will agree, at least in part, be prepared, and others will find troubling in parts. For me, growing up as connected to, in family and story, to Judaism culturally and to Israel, parts of the readings, whether I agree with them or not, and I won't get into that here, are very difficult and even sometimes feel like a betrayal to read, as true as they are. While other parts of the readings will feel very familiar, very comfortable. But deep listening often involves comfort as well as discomfort. According to David Rome, author of Your Body Knows the Answer, deep listening involves listening from a deep, receptive, and caring place in oneself to deeper and to often subtler levels of meaning and intention in the other person who's speaking or who's writing. It is listening that is generous, that is empathetic, that is supportive, that is accurate, and that is trusting of the other and of yourself. Trust here does not imply agreement, does not imply you agree with what you're listening to, but it is trust that whatever the others say, regardless of how well or how poorly it is said, in your opinion, it comes from something true in their experience. Deep listening is an ongoing practice of suspending our self-oriented, our reactive thinking, and opening one's awareness to the unknown and to the unexpected. So, please take care of yourself as you need when I'm reading this. If you are not in an emotional or a mental space to do this practice, you will not be judged for stepping out or away as you need to care for yourself. The first reading is the 2024 Action of Immediate Witness, which was passed at the last UU General Assembly, entitled Solidarity with Palestinians. I will not read it in its entirety for time's sake, but I do invite you to read it in its entirety on your own. The second reading is an article in the Detroit online Jewish periodical called New Detroit, spelled New Detroit, entitled Hirsch, You Are the Best of Us, about Hirsch Goldberg Poland. His parents spoke at the Democratic National Convention. He was wounded and he was abducted by Hamas and held hostage for almost 11 months before his body was recovered from a tunnel in Rafah in the Gaza Strip. Following each reading, I will give brief context to assist in processing. There will not be an apology or a polemic, neither in defense or in opposition. You're welcome to talk to me later in person about that if you'd like. Rather, I will offer what will hopefully be a helpful contextual framework to mindfully consider these writings. And in between the readings, the choir will sing after the first and after the second. So first reading, June 22nd, 2024, an action of immediate witness entitled Solidarity with Palestinians. Our Unitarian Universalist faith draws on the moral imperative of radical love, and despite all odds, calls us to uphold a world where liberation is real and we all thrive. Our faith community has long recognized the horrors of violent anti-Semitism against generations of Jewish people. And we reaffirm our commitment to their safety. Our support of Jewish well-being, our support of Jewish well-being, for Jewish well-being, was never meant to undermine the rights and lands of Palestinian people. We seek a world where our Palestinian and our Jewish kin are safe. We believe that until Palestinians are free, none of us are free. We decry all the violence of October 7th, and we further acknowledge that we cannot possibly contextualize all that led to this point. We can't contextualize it all, but note that Israel's occupation and repression in Gaza has been decades long. Unitarian and/or Universalist congregations and communities around the world have issued calls for peace, for justice, and reparations in the Palestinian territories for decades. In 1948, 750,000 Palestinians were forcibly displaced, and at least 280,000 were displaced in 1967 when additional Palestinian lands were occupied violently against international law. The UUA General Assembly resolutions in 1982 and 2002 called for ending the occupation of Palestinian lands, and the 1982 UUA Board of Trustees resolution declared that, quote, criticism of the policies of the government of Israel should not be equated with or confused with anti-Semitism. Today, we recognize that the Zionism, or at least the Zionist experiment as it's been conducted, is increasingly intertwined with supremacy and nationalism, which our faith has consistently rejected from any country as unjust and discriminatory. And there are links in this article, which I won't read, to reports by human rights organizations that talk about the details of this. A growing number of Unitarian Universalist communities and individuals are calling for ending unconditional military aid to the state of Israel and affirming solidarity with Palestinian safety, support, and self-determination. And in the AIW, those organizations are listed. With the U.S. providing Israel the highest amount of military aid in the world, UUs in this country bear a responsibility to speak out against these policies. Since October 7th, Israel has subjected Gaza to indiscriminate bombings with US-made weapons, resulting in civilian casualties, including journalists, aid workers, delivery food and medical supplies, and healthcare workers. And as of May 25th this year, 2024, over 40,000 have been killed, including over 8,000 children. Counting identified Palestinians and bodies under the rubble, 20,000 orphaned and nearly 80,000 wounded, including thousands of amputees. Israel has blocked necessary aid delivery, depriving Palestinians of food, water, and medicines, and causing famine with starvation, deaths in the hundreds, and 1.6 million people in danger. The targeted and widespread destruction of medical, cultural, agricultural, educational, and religious sites constitutes ethnic cleansing. There's a link in the AIW to definitions of ethnic cleansing if you want them to explain how they got there. At the same time, Israeli settlers are conducting attacks, violent attacks on Palestinian communities in the occupied West Bank, and the Israeli settlement movement is being hosted in U.S. synagogues to sell illegally confiscated land in the occupied territories. The Israeli military's deliberate targeting of Gaza's hospitals and healthcare infrastructure, along with the killing of healthcare workers and the withholding of food and water, is causing a humanitarian crisis that threatens the survival and well-being of the Palestinian population. The International Court of Justice has labeled these actions as plausible genocide and has urged countries that are parties to the Genocide Convention to halt any actions that could contribute to this grave situation. The persecution of the Palestinians is also connected to a global commitment to profits over human lives and parallels greed-fueled conflicts in Sudan, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Ethiopia. While we call for the liberation of Palestinians, we also call for the liberation for all persecuted people across the globe. At the core of our Unitarian Universalist faith is the belief that all life is sacred. Amidst global efforts to tamp down on speaking up for the lives of Palestinians, Congolese, and all oppressed people, we must find our courage to live and to speak our beliefs into the broken, breaking world. Solidarity with Palestinians faces escalating repression in the United States. Thousands of students are staging peaceful protests against the massacres, with universities enabling police forces to conduct hundreds of arrests. These demonstrations are also met with attacks on free speech, providing a pretext for both state and paramilitary violence. A bill declaring criticism of Israel to be anti-Semitic, based on a controversial definition, and there's a link to that, has been approved by the House. A bill to consider criticism of Israel as anti-Semitic. It's approved by the House, and the Senate is expected to affirm it as well. Over 325 groups have signed the Apartheid-Free Communities Solidarity Initiative of the American Friends Service Committee, including 4 major religious denominations. Those communities are listed. So we've resolved in the AIW has resolved, we, the delegates of the 2024 General Assembly, call on our UU congregations and communities to be in solidarity with Palestinians by engaging in the following actions based on the guidance of Palestinian and impacted partner organizations. These actions are detailed in the original document, but I'm not going to read all of them here except to list them: witnessing, education, organizing, and advocating. That's the AIW. I appreciate your deep listening to it. Here is some context, very brief, that I feel is important, speaking as a Jewish Unitarian Universalist. The UUA makes 2 different types of social witness statements, if you didn't know. They're statements of conscience, which arise from 3 years of congregational study and reflection and action. And actions, and then there are the actions of immediate witness, which this is one of those. And those are initiated by individual delegates. And these actions of immediate witness immediately, they just move through their entire creation and adoption process during one single General Assembly. And they express the conscience and carry the authority only of the delegates at that General Assembly in which it is passed. The delegates at GA represent individual congregations, and each congregation, not the Unitarian Universalist Association, decides how to select delegates and whether to send delegates at all. This action of immediate witness that I read passed with 73.5% delegate vote. I also want to say there are Jewish Unitarian Universalists who are understandably troubled and have written even to me that they see this action of immediate witness as, quote, a dismissal of the reality of the current political power of Hamas and its status as a terrorist organization, professing intent and carrying out action to annihilate the Jewish people, even at the cost of their own civilian lives. And there are Jews who hear the words genocide and apartheid as dog whistles for anti-Semitism, which is a genuine fear given the rise of anti-Semitism. Once again, I'm communicating for deep listening. This isn't about agreement for or against, it's context. There are also many Jewish UUs who participated in the writing of this action of immediate witness, and many other Unitarian Universalist Jews who are in complete support of this AIW as written. More context. There are plenty of Jewish responses to Israel, the Israeli government, naming the rhetoric of Netanyahu and his supporters as inciting hatred and inciting genocide. We will take a breath and process this as we hear the choir sing together, or as we sing together, a hymn by the Jewish sacred music composer Max Janowski, and inspired by the words of Yehyu L'Ratzon, which is a Jewish prayer recited during Shabbat worship. This musical recite is hymn number 218, Who Can Say? So the second reading is called Hirsch, You Were the Best of Us by Aviv Lies. 3 weeks ago, I attended the Shiva of Hirsch Goldwyn Poland, a young Jewish man we have all come to be so familiar with. But who was Hirsch beyond the media buzz? Hirsch has come to symbolize many things. Hirsch is a symbol of the hostages, of both the psychological harm, seeing his best friend Oner die, and the physical harm, his arm being blown off by a grenade, committed by Hamas during the October 7th attacks. While Hirsch symbolized the trauma, fear, and grief of the hostage families, he also symbolized the hope of a peaceful return of the hostages and an end to the bloodshed in Gaza. Even his mother, Rachel Goldberg Poland, came to symbolize the everlasting, strong, resilient, mournful Jewish mother of our history. All of this heightens the tragedy of his death. We, the Israeli people, were fortunate to become acquainted with the person that Hirsch was, although under terrible circumstances. His status as an American Ole from the Midwest, a status he and I share, and his position as a seemingly perfect son of every Jewish mother's dreams, something he and I don't share. I added that. The Goldberg Poland's family story as Olim, as immigrants to Israel from Chicago, makes them more relatable to American Jews who often have difficulty relating to Israelis and what life is really like in this endlessly enigmatic nation. This made the pain of Hirsch's parents more accessible to American Jews who can see themselves in the Goldberg Polin family. Heartbreakingly, Hirsch is also a symbol of our collective failures as diaspora Jews, as Israelis, and the Israeli government's failure to negotiate a deal that would have saved Hirsch's life, along with the 5 Israelis who were murdered that day, Carmel Gatz of loving memory, Alexander Lobanov of loving memory, Almog Surasi of loving memory, Eden Yerushalmi of loving memory, and Ori Danizo of loving memory. They were all young people with futures. To all of them, I can only say that I am so sorry we could not save you. I am sorry that collectively we failed you. However, Hirsch did not have a say in any of this. He never volunteered to be a symbol in the fight to bring the hostages home. Hamas forcibly recruited him. And therefore, we must not see him as just a symbol, but first and foremost as a human being. Considering the brutality of Hamas, it is more comfortable to think of an anonymous victim rather than a person with a name, an identity, a life, and so much more. Being continuously tortured in subhuman conditions. Symbolizing Hamas's victims distracts us from the painful reality that we have fellow Jews and Muslims and Christians and Hindus and Buddhists in Gaza living as prisoners in deplorable conditions, not knowing if they will be alive the next day. Hirsch was a young man, a Jewish American Israeli who loved life. He loved to travel, and he dreamed of traveling the world. He loved music and was an amateur musician himself. He was a peace activist who volunteered in bringing Jews and Arabs together to play soccer. He was an activist who fought for the rights of African migrants. He was a very loyal fan of Hapoel Yerushalayim Football Club. He was a devoted son, brother, and grandson. This is the human we must remember, not the symbols which he became. I first felt as if Hirsch and I were kindred spirits when his mother, Rachel Goldberg Poland, showed glimpses of his room to a journalist highlighting his banner, which said in Hebrew and in Arabic and in English that Jerusalem is everyone's. Hirsch was exactly the kind of person I have known and loved in America and Israel. Hirsch is the friend I wish I had. And like Hirsch, I have a deep love of geography since I was young. I proudly won the National Geographical B at Hillel Day School when I was in 6th grade. And like Hirsch, I love to travel and learn about different cultures for the sake of world peace. We both also happen to be Olim from the Midwest. Hirsch from Chicago and I from Detroit. I know that together we could have accomplished a lot in the field of Arab-Jewish solidarity. Hirsch believed in peace and coexistence. He encapsulated the true ideal vision of the state of Israel, a light upon the nations. Clearly, Hirsch is still a light shining on the whole of the Jewish and non-Jewish world, who has learned of his kindness and his love and life exuberance, his optimism. I wonder what Hirsch's life trajectory had looked like had he survived this whole ordeal. I hope he would have kept his commitment to peace and the values he built his life around. But I cannot even begin to fathom how horrible his situation was for nearly a year. If he came out of Gaza traumatized and disillusioned by the peace process, I would not have blamed him. Because like I said, first and foremost, Hirsch was human. Hirsch had hopes, dreams, beliefs, and values. Hirsch is a life lost, but he can be a symbol for a better future. At his Shiva, I told his father that my dream for coming to Israel was to be a part of the peace process, a dream I still have, and one that John Poland told me to keep fighting for in the memory of his son, Hirsch Goldberg of loving memory. Hirsch, you are the best of us. I hope more people like you arise, because we need more Hirsch Goldberg Polands in Israel and throughout the world to bring peace, to bring love. I pray your legacy has a life of 120 years, the life you were robbed of and beyond. At the New York Vigil for Hirsch, they sang the classic Israeli song by Eric Einstein, Ani ve'ata nishaneh et ha'olam. You and I will change the world. And his father proclaimed, may your memory be a revolution. Speaking at the Democratic National Convention, he emphasized the suffering of Israelis and Gazans alike. Quote, there is a surplus of agony on all sides of this tragic conflict of the Middle East. In a competition of pain, there are no winners, he wrote. May we all join this revolution in Hirsch's memory to make the world a better place, and one day, Be'ezrat Hashem, with God's help, bring peace to this ever volatile yet forever holy, holy land. Here's some context for that reading. And I would like to say, we should be telling the stories of Israelis and Palestinians and naming them both as much as we can. The author of this particular piece is Aviv Lis, and he is my cousin. He is an American-born Jew. Well, actually, his parents are my cousin. He's my second cousin, whatever it is. He is an American-born Jew who holds both American and Israeli citizenship. His father was born in Israel and was a soldier in the Israeli Defense Force, and his siblings live in Israel, one of whom is currently serving in the Israeli Defense Force. Given my identity as a cultural Jew, I've often been asked for advice from other Jewish UUs who are troubled both by the action of immediate witness and how they interpret the leanings of our faith, and by Jews who are troubled by Jews who are not troubled by that, Jews who are in favor of it as well, about becoming or remaining a Unitarian Universalist given these opposing views by Jews even in our faith. And to that, I have no direct answer except to listen, deep listening, and to express with confidence that I believe this is a faith that welcomes disagreement with compassion. Personally, although I respect and love my Jewish cultural heritage and ancestry, there are far too many aspects of Judaism with which I disagree as well in order for me to identify religiously Jewish, so I don't. And there are far too many things I agree with in this faith to not identify as a culturally Jewish Unitarian Universalist. Intent versus impact is much, much more complicated in the context of Israel and Palestine because there is trauma and pain and dehumanization and marginalization and hate and prejudice from so many different perspectives that must be considered. And that's why the struggle is so difficult. Before I continue, I told people that I would announce charity that relates to every sermon or reading that I do. And the charity I'm talking about now is called If Not Now. It's ifnotnowmovement.org. And it's American Jews organizing to end U.S. support for Israel's apartheid system and to demand equity, justice, and a thriving future for all Palestinians and Israelis. And tomorrow, on the anniversary, October 7th, they will gather in the evening in Grand Park on Spring Street in LA to mark 1 year since the Hamas-led attack in which over 1,100 Israelis were killed and hundreds more were taken hostage, and 1 year anniversary of the Israeli government's ongoing massacres and starvation in Gaza, which has killed over 42,000 and likely tens of thousands more Palestinians. To conclude, then, as long as I am confident the individual members and communities of Unitarian Universalism practice deep listening, as you have graced us with today, by working to step back from reactiveness when someone says something we don't agree with, as risky as that is, as difficult as that is, and consider each other with compassion and love to the extent that is humanly possible, as long as we do that, I'm going to stick around. I identify as Unitarian Universalist because our covenantal relationships with each other requires not only that we challenge ourselves as we've done today, not only that we, as the cliche say, question each other's answers. Not only do we question each other's answers, but we are required to do so, inclusive of respect and inclusive of love. And now, for our centering hymn, number 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease.
And now I have someone to introduce to you. This is Sidi Bin with Clue, who brings together clergy and the lay leaders of all faiths with the marginalized, the unheard, and the least protected, low-wage workers in the cause of a just economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top. Sidi, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sidi Ben, and I am an ordained minister and a faith-rooted organizer with Clue Justice, Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice. And first off, I want to thank everyone here. Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, Pastor Joshua, for inviting me to just share in this amazing time of worship, very powerful and applying deep listening, and also to share who Clue is today with you all. Some of you may have known Clue or work with Clue to support workers at the Terranea Resort in their struggles for protection and dignity. Now, I came to know Clue through my own struggle as a refugee. I am Cambodian, and my parents escaped the Khmer Rouge War during the mid-'70s and ended up in a refugee camp in Thailand, where I was born in 1980 and came to the United States in '84. I actually currently have an order of deportation right now to Cambodia, a country where I never set foot on. I wasn't born there, but in Thailand. And I came across Clue in 2020 in my struggle and my fight against deportation to a country I've never been to, where Clue accompanied me by inviting faith leaders to join me with my ICE check-in. I have annual check-in now, before it was quarterly, and also to show that I am not alone in my struggle for dignity. As an organizer with Clue, I get to do the same for asylum seekers and migrants coming from the border by building a welcomes collective of interfaith leaders to provide temporary housing, or we call it overnight hospitality, for our migrant siblings as they seek safety from violence from their motherlands. We have more than 30 congregations that are a part of our collective. Now, immigration justice is just one of 3 pillars of Clue's work. The other 2 pillars are worker justice and racial justice. All these 3 areas of work are interconnected in our pursuit of building the beloved community. In worker justice, one of our largest campaigns since last year is the Tourism Workers Campaign. We have been fighting alongside hotel workers and tourism workers across Los Angeles and Orange counties for an Olympic minimum wage of $25 an hour so they can live where they work. And also in racial justice, we build coalition across differences to fight for public safety and ensure accountability over law enforcement. If you'd like to be part of our interfaith movement in SoCal to build the beloved community together, I would love to share with you our flyers that we have. We have also out there on the table. And also, you could also look us up online at our website to learn more. And yeah, so that is what we do here at Clue Justice here in Southern California. And just want to thank you all for having me, and thank you for commitment to justice. Thank you.
We are splitting our plate collection today between us and Clue as well. And here's the music. The musical offertory is called Ephori, Where is My Light, written by the humanist Rabbi Sherwin T. Wine. I asked for your grace in going a little over in time in this service, but I felt not cutting the readings was important. So we're wrapping it up, but thank you for your generosity. The choir, Ephori. us be grateful when we are able to give. Yay! That's all right, Carolyn. Thank you, Severin and the choir. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for all those who share their gifts, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us also be grateful ever for our needs, even for our needs, so that we may experience the generosity of others. Thank you so much. Thank you, Seti. Thank you, Tracy, Severin, everyone who's involved in this service. Please rise in body and spirit for our closing hymn, number 323, Break Not the Circle.
Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiven and forgiving. Break not the circle, make it wider still, till it includes embraces of the living. Come wonder at this love that comes to life, where words of freedom are with humor spoken, and people keep no score of wrong and guilt, but without human bonds remain unbroken. Join then the movement of the love that frees, till people of whatever race or nation will truly be themselves, stand on their feet, see eye to eye with laughter and elation.
You may stand and hold hands if you like. You may sit and not hold hands if you prefer. This church is dedicated to the proposition that behind all of our differences, beneath all our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together in spite of time and death and the space between the stars. We pause in silent witness to that unity.
May the blessing of love be upon you. May love's peace abide with you. May love's presence illuminate your hearts now and forever. So be it. Amen. Shalom, salam, namaste, and blessed be. And now our service truly begins. Please stay for the postlude. Abraham will be, it's from Cosi fan tutte, right?
Yes, so this is not. I have auditioned and gotten the lead role of Cosi fan tutte, which is a Mozart opera.
Yay.
And this aria. Thank you. This aria is one of the many arias or things that I sing in the opera, and we open October 19th and 20th. The 20th will be at the Dalmatian Hall in San Pedro. I'm going to send the Eventbrite ticket link to Gabby, I think, and who will hopefully get it to anyone who's interested. This is Un'aura Amorosa. Thank you.